Hello, welcome to People in Perspective. I'm Dave Miller, and my guest for this edition is James Ryans of Ryans Heating and Cooling. Welcome to the show. So, how's business been?
We're very busy right now. It's our busy time of the year. People are turning their heat on and finding out that it's not working or not working properly. And so they're calling us on the phone to come and take care of their equipment.
So, there's no more heating? There's no more cooling?
No, cooling generally stops when the temperature drops below 50, 60, 50 degrees, and then we become heating servicemen. And so we have different things to do in different seasons of the year. This particular time of the year, we're starting up heating equipment, and therefore cooling equipment is being shut off, with a few exceptions.
Is there anything people could do to make sure that their equipment will be okay for a good year or so?
Yes, it's very important that people change their filters in their furnace. More than 50% of all furnace failures are caused by the fact that people did not change the filter in their furnace. The furnace requires an amount of air to run through the furnace to keep it functional, and without the air coming through the furnace, because the filter is clogged, the furnace will shut down.
Okay. Well, can you explain to the people out there what this is?
This is a championship trophy from Santa Fe Speedway. We used to race there many years ago before it was torn down to make room for new housing. Back in for many years, it survived at 91st and Wolf Road. It was the local attraction and the local racetrack. And I raced there for many years, probably 25 years. And I raced Demolition Derby, and in 1991 we were the champions, and this is the trophy from that year.
How many other family members were a part of your team?
All of them, just about. My brother, Johnny, and my two sons, Peter and Dennis, raced in the team. My daughter, Colleen Ryan, also participated. She didn't actually race in the team, but she participated. And it's a family business. It's a family racing thing that everyone does and everybody has a part of.
Explain how it keeps living today. Is it still around?
Yes, there's a new racetrack in Joliet where they have the big NASCAR race, the big Joliet NASCAR race, and they have a smaller track on the side, racetrack, and they've moved the Demolition Derby portion of the racing to the track in Joliet. And therefore the teams continue on, many teams, although the people change and the ownership changes, the tradition is still alive there today.
What was the name of your team when you raced?
My team was called the Locomotives. We were the black cars with the big white sevens, and we were always the Locomotives for many years.
Is there an origin to the name, or did you just name it because locomotives are big, cool trains?
Yes, there was an origin. We were sitting around a table one day, all the team members, the family members, everyone involved, and we had a can of black paint sitting on the table, and we were trying to come up with a name for our team, and we were Black Knights and this and that, and we wanted to incorporate something. And on the can of paint, it said Locomotive Black. And we said, well, why don't we just be the Locomotives? And that's how we became the Locomotives.
Are the locomotives still around today?
No, they're not. The locomotives have been retired since 2004, was the last year we raced as the Locomotives, at which point in time all of the family members were too worn out and had done it too long and had too many other commitments. And so therefore the team was handed on to the next generation, the next group of people who wanted to call it something other than the locomotives, to not make light of our experiences and our legendary racing. And so they became a team called the Black Plague, and then there was another name and a couple other names, and now they're, I don't remember what they are now. They're Rude Awakening. No.
Reckoning.
Reckoning. They're Team Reckoning, that's correct.
Also, is there any like Johnny, Dennis, Peter, are any of them still racing?
Yes. My son Peter still races. He races on the Orange Crush team, which are the champions this year, this year's demolition champions. My brother Johnny still raced, but he didn't race this year. And he raced on the Junkyard Dog demolition team, also at Joliet Speedway. And that's it. Everybody else is retired.
Do you ever miss the thrill, the action of just going out there and crashing into another car?
Yes, I do. Almost every day. Almost every day I feel like I would like to have the adrenaline and the rush of just crashing into the car coming at you, but in a split second you realize that's not a real good idea, and so you don't do it. But I've often wished that I could go back out and do it again, but it's such an intensive sport that at my age it's difficult for bones to heal up, and we had a few racers have broken bones this year, and therefore I don't think I'm physically capable of participating anymore. But in my mind I would like to. I would very much like to go out and race again.
Do you ever think back to when you used to race and say, man, I wish I didn't wreck that car, I wish I would have kept it?
We almost every day we see some beautiful collectible car that is in a parade or in a car show or on television now. There's so many shows where they're restoring this car, rebuilding that old car, or whatever. And almost every day we see a car that we had. Well, we had one of those and we took it out and wrecked it. We crashed it and it went to the junkyard and became scrap metal. And so, yeah, oftentimes I wished I had not wrecked some of the cars that we had.
What's the one that if you were able to keep any car that you've ever wrecked, which one would it be?
I'd have to say it was a 61 Cadillac Coupe de Ville that we had that my wife Nancy drove for a whole summer, and it was a really, really unique car because it got really good gas mileage. It got about 18 miles to a gallon of gas in 1976, and it was an enormous car. 10 people could fit inside of it, and it was in really nice shape. But I wrecked it anyway and regretted it later.
So, do you think the Demolition Derby could live on if they're not making more metal cars now that they're making cars with plastic?
I don't think so. I think it's pretty much run its course, and that cars nowadays, the new cars, are just not strong enough physically. They're being made to crumple and crash and fall apart so that the occupants don't get injured. And it's very difficult to convert these into cars that'll go out on a racetrack and continue to crash and crash and crash. And so therefore it's going to be a short-term life for the rest of the Demolition Derby, I believe. Now they're transitioning. They're in a lot of places. They're racing trucks and buses and things like that with a little more substantial body to the vehicle. But for the most part, cars are too small and too weak to participate in this type of a sport.
Thanks for coming on the show today, Mr. Ryan. I'm Dave Miller, and this has been People in Perspective. See you next time.